video is going to be a response video. And pardon my background. I know I got a comment about how my background looks. I'm going to be improving things quickly and powerfully. So you can imagine a time in the future looking back on videos like this and thinking to yourself, wow, did he really improve? Holy shit. So anyways, before I use more NLP on you, your fucking asses, I'm going to get to this video. So basically, you know, within a lot of this shit, like as far as on YouTube, there's some people, you know, going back and forth about feminism and women and men and relationships and shit, you know. And so it's interesting getting into these debates and these quarrels and stuff. But what I have to say in this video is basically that I don't agree with everything that the anti-feminists say. And there's a recent video by Sargon of Akkad, which kind of bothered me. So just to begin, I don't believe everything's biological. I don't believe everything's social. So you have the far left, or it would be this way if you're looking at me. The far left a lot of times believes things are all social. And, you know, that comes from Marxism, post-structuralism, post-modernism, all these different kinds of theories and stuff that come about, you know, and feminism is very influenced by that. So that aspect of exclusively focusing on that aspect of feminism, or that aspect of human life, really bothers me. Now, on the other end, and I wouldn't call it a right-left thing really per se, you have people that believe biology is destiny. And, you know, that's evolutionary biology or evolutionary psychology. I'm going to take my pill. So, before I go too insane on this video, no. So, basically, you have these two sides that fight or whatever you want to call it, you know, they debate. So I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I don't believe everything is socially constructed. Obviously, I think that's a really flawed thing on the left, the far left, or whatever you want to call it, feminism. I'm going to do more videos about that too, you know, how I believe this. But I don't believe everything's biology either. So, lo and behold, Sargon uploads this video. It was like probably about a week ago. Let me see. I will have to check. And pardon the disorganization. I really don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck, you know. I could be in a fucking disaster because just throwing it on the world. No, I'm just kidding. So 1 week ago, actually, how feminism set men free. So I'm going to play a little bit of that video and give my response to what he's saying in this video, which I basically really disagree with. And I'll just explain this. I follow his videos pretty regularly, and I really like them. I don't agree with everything, obviously, like this video. Something gets to me about this one. For some reason, it got to me. And I'll explain that in a moment.
Men who aren't that bothered about being incredibly high later on in this talk, when you're really not talking about empowering everyone. The great irony of feminism, of course, is actually that it did free men from the burden of being the head of the household. And now you get loads of articles like this, wondering why so many professional millennial women are unable to find dateable men. And to answer the hundreds of articles written by women asking why I can't find a man, there are obviously hundreds of articles written by women trying to explain why they can't find a man. And, you know, maybe there is a small nugget of truth to each one of these articles. Like, for example, with this one, it's not that he's just not that into you, it's that there aren't enough of him, as in him being well-educated men with well-paying careers better than the women who are looking to date. Because fundamentally, women don't seem to understand that men are not attracted to the same things women are attracted to. For example, here, where the question is, who's a man more likely to go for? Is it a woman who's smart, independent, and together, or a woman who doesn't seem to have that much going on and seems to need a man and a relationship? The answer, of course, is B, because, believe it or not, men are not robots and actually need to be needed. This was, in fact, the raison d'etre of men. This was what men were for, to be needed by women. And now women have said, well, we don't need you. Okay, that's fine. And that's fine, but don't be surprised when men start living for themselves. And don't be surprised when living for themselves means being men of modest means.
Okay, so there's a lot of things wrong with that, and I don't have time really to go into everything that's wrong with that clip. First of all, what's really kind of funny, a little funny aside here, is that he's using a Christian Carter article, and as one of the articles. I mean, obviously, the research he does, he looks as many articles he can to validate his points, and anybody does that. I mean, that's just a way of getting a message across. But Christian Carter, as far as I recall, and don't quote me on this, but I believe that he's associated with the famous pickup artist David D'Angelo somehow. He's kind of like or his company. I'm not sure. Double Your Dating, he worked for that. It's obviously a pseudonym. It's David D'Angelo, DD. I forgot what that's called when you have the two. The initials are the same, Christian Carter. So I found that kind of interesting that he would use that article, not attacking the other articles, but I think really there's a spectrum of different aspects of attraction, and it's really oversimplifying things in the same way that when he attacks feminists for oversimplifying things, obviously he has a point. But in this video, he's really oversimplifying things. I think there's a lot of aspects to sexuality and attraction, and basically, like, I do follow some of the thoughts and the writings of David Data, The Way of the Superior Man, where you have people that are more masculine in one way, more feminine in the other way. You have these different things and these different aspects working together. So him to oversimplify things like, oh, men, aren't, men are being shunted out of these high goal oriented women and then they're complaining about it. I just think that oversimplifies things in a certain respect. So obviously there's a lot of different things going on right now in society and with sexuality and everything. And outside of this kind of debate, I mean, there's a whole polyamory movement, Of course, I know he's done videos about how women shouldn't be promiscuous and stuff, or whatever he said, or how he doesn't think that's whatever natural or whatever the fuck. I don't remember exactly what he said. I have to go back to the video. I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to implicitly state he said that. I'm not mining a quote or anything like that. So my problem with these generalizations, these broad generalizations, are that the studies are still going on. So I'll give you an example. There's a lot of things about hunter-gatherers coming out, a lot of science that conflicts with earlier science, and I'm actually on the fence about this, but like Sex at Dawn, books like that had come out that said humans were naturally polyamorous, blah, 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 promiscuous. And I don't think it's as black and white as they say, or it's as black and white as Matt Riley of the Red Queen, who's more of an evolutionary biologist, says. There's an alpha male and all that stuff. And so I think it's somewhere in between. There's a lot of different levels and a lot of different shades in between there. So to say, basically, that feminism caused women to want to not be docile robot women or slaves of men, I mean, I'm not saying that he's actually said that, but it's just, I was appalled at his assumption that, well, women complained about being free, and now they're free, and now they're pissed. It's like, fuck you. I mean, what is wrong? See, what I'm attracted to are women that have shit going on in their lives. I've never been attracted to women that just sit around play. I've never really been attracted to women that just sit around and do nothing, don't have any goals, anything in life. And it's not like because my masculine energy is too effeminate or something, or I'm fucking. It is just I've always been interesting women and attractive women. You know, now some of those women, when it comes to with sex or sexual relationships, might be a little bit more submissive in some ways, or they might be more dominant. But just because they're this way in one part of their life doesn't mean they're that way in another. And there's a lot of different complexities to that. So there's oversimplifications and generalizations trying to make this anti-feminist viewpoint, which a lot of times I agree with. But in this instance, I just think it's kind of bullshit. And another thing that bothers me is he just kind of makes these broad generalizations, and obviously there's not a lot of in this video, at least, there's not a lot of backing for it. Where's the science? A lot of times he does put it in the bottom notes that he got this scientific study said this, and I like that. It's good to have that. But this is kind of just generalizations. Head of the it says, ironic side effect of feminism is to free men from the burden of being the head of the house. So, and there are other factors like the economy. I mean, a lot of people are struggling on both sexes, and to say like, well, women are complaining. A lot of these articles are just clickbait feminists, as I call them, that just say, or clickbait whatever, whatever their ideology is. They just, well, I don't like men nowadays. And then, back in the 90s, there was a lot of stuff about there's no real men anymore and stuff. Like, if that's sort of what he's kind of saying. He's kind of saying that's what they're saying now. But I think that's an overgeneralization about what they're saying now. I just think, it's just like people are having a lot of troubles with relating to the opposite sex. And there's a lot of different factors. There's economic factors. There's just various factors. I don't think that the only thing is because feminism set men free to be bums and beta males, so women are complaining about that. I don't think it's that simple. And I think there's a lot of different aspects of sexuality and sexual attraction beyond it's either alpha male and then fucks all the tribe or whatever, or it's polyamory, sex at dawn, everybody's fucking. I don't believe it's either one. There's a lot of complexities and a lot of nuance there. So the point of this video is like, I consider myself masculine in many ways. I like women that take initiative in life. It doesn't mean I like totally domineering women or something like that, or dominating women, and it doesn't mean that I like super docile women either. And I don't want that. I just think it's gross. I like women that know what they're doing. I've been with some women that were inexperienced, and now I'm just like, well, they've got to have some experience or some willingness to try different things, at least. So, I mean, that's, usually the experiences. I like really, sometimes I like some wild girls. I've dated some kind of wild ones at times. And I think it's a lot of fun. I don't think it's some, like, fucking losing my masculinity because of feminism because they're wild women. Ugh. It's like, fuck you. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, what the fuck do you want? I mean, I say that about feminists all the time. And what the fuck do you want? But in this case, I would say it's a Sargon. What the fuck is your point? But that's all for this video. I thought I'd do this video. It's one of my first response videos in a long time. And I'm trying to get all this editing software to work slowly. And I'm pretty half-ass at it right now. But in the future, as I said, it'll get better. And I just wanted to make that point. So